But we fought a different war then, didn't we? We were fighting for Mother, and we were fighting for America, and we were fighting for apple pie and Chevrolet. And everybody in America in World War II was at war, even if you were a civilian at home, because you gave up butter, or you gave up automobile tires, or you gave up sugar. And you were working to help the war. Ever since then, as it relates to Korea, or Vietnam, or Afghanistan, or Desert Storm, or Iraq, there's none of us today at war. Hardly any of us know a thing about what's going on now, except what we see every once in a while right over there on the television, and we're far removed, and that bothers me very much. I feel like that when you go to war, and you go to win. And if you go to win, people are going to be hurt, and civilians are going to be hurt, and so forth. And so...
Sacrifice.
That's correct. A police action don't seem to have helped us in any way in Korea, in Vietnam, in Afghanistan, in Iraq. And the only thing really, I guess, that we accomplished was Desert Storm when we moved Saddam Hussein out of there. Would you agree with that?
Out of Kuwait.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, how does a man endure torture?
I think I guess everybody has their own way of enduring torture. In my own case, I was a Christian and professed a faith in God and a future existence when I became a prisoner of war. And while I was being beat and while I was being tortured, little verses out of the Bible came to me in such a way that I'll never put more on you than you can stand. And so you grit your teeth and you think to yourself, if this situation was reversed, how would it work? And so that's the way we came. And you've got to have faith, and you've got to have faith in tomorrow and all the tomorrows to come, because in prison camp I saw people who would set a date for the war to be over, and that date would come and the war was not over, and they'd be dead in 2 weeks, and they were in no worse physical shape than I was.
They give up.
But they gave up and they lost faith. You've got to keep the faith. You've got to think about all the tomorrows that are to come, and that I thought to myself, there's not one of these guys that are going to kill me. I'm not giving my life to this cause.
And you didn't.
And I didn't.
You came home.
I did, for a fact.
I want to shift gears now from back then to now, to this project. How did you first find out about this project?
Well, they call me, I don't know whether it was Ken Wallingford, who I've known ever since he got out of prison camp and came home. And of course I set up the first POW chapter here, and he's a part of that. But I know that James Crabtree, quite a couple of years ago, came out and interviewed me at my office and that sort of thing. And so they called me about this project and asked me would I come down and be interviewed for it, and I said I'd be pleased to.
And you were pleased to because?
Well, because I felt like that freedom is not free, and if we're not very carefully, we can say that history will repeat itself, and that the best gauge of the future is a small measure of the past. We need to take a look at the past and what has happened to all the great nations of the world and what caused them to fall, and look at ourselves. And I think that it is a message that needs to go to our children. I'm pleased, and I get called all the time, because in the 7th and 8th grade in our school systems, these kids are studying World War II in history. And if they can get a hold of a World War II veteran to come and speak to the school or to the class or what, they're just honored to have that take place. And I try to do that every time I'm called, because I think that the younger generations coming on should realize, and it's a trite statement, that freedom is not free, but that we have to pay a price. And it's a great country that we live in, and we're seeing that right now play out in the world in which we live today, that we have a great country, and what we need to do is start respecting it and get on with the program.
The project itself, the oral history thing, that you participated in.
Yes.
That is kicking off a year of observance down at the Visitor Center
Right.
at the Capitol. What do you think of that program?
I think it's a fabulous program that will touch so many young people that it will be impossible. It'll be impossible to gauge the future of those children when they become adults and so forth. And even the baby boomers, as they take a look that many of them have not gone to war or been in war and so forth, when they're able to see that project and see what some of the people have gone through for their benefit to make this great land what it is today, they're going to be amazed, and it may change a lot of attitudes and a lot of thinking in America, I would think, and I would hope so, and that's why I have participated.
Change it from what to what?
Change it to a country that is proud of itself, and that we're full of love, and that we have great respect for one another, and that we try to analyze this world in which we live and live honorably in it.